Hey guys, good morning. Hector here. What a crazy week it was last week. I was only able to get on Monday and Tuesday of last week. I just had a really crazy week preparing for. We had a big event here in Corpus and actually worldwide. An event that we host twice a year called the Tactical Strength Challenge, the TSC for short. Basically, the Tactical Strength Challenge is it's an event that's hosted twice a year in the spring and in the fall. It's a 3-lift event, and it's focused on the three main how would I say this? I guess the 3 main disciplines of strength, or the 3 main attributes of strength, which is maximal strength, which we test with the barbell deadlift, relative strength that we test with body-weighted pull-ups or flexed arm hang, and then strength endurance or cardiovascular endurance through the kettlebell snatch. And so this is an event hosted remotely by an SFG instructor, and it goes on at the same time all over the world. It's a really great event. What I like about the event is it helps to bring the strength community together. There can tend to be a lot of division sometimes. There can tend to be a lot of egos sometimes, but one of the main things that I like about the TSC is that it helps you to overcome your fears and to basically challenge yourself. So things like, powerlifting or weightlifting, or even like the TSC, one of the things that makes it different from, let's say competitive jiu-jitsu or MMA or boxing or any of these other contact or other types of sports, what makes weightlifting or some kind of powerlifting event different is the battle is all inside. The battle is within. We can psych ourselves out sometimes, and we can be our own enemy, and compare it to something like, traditional sports, or even, competitive Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or MMA, the demon is still us, right? Still kind of getting past ourselves, but also now we have an external competitor, okay? So things like, I think that's why golf is a really big sport that a lot of men and women like to take on, because it's a pursuit of improvement of oneself, right? So that's one of the things I like about the TSC. We also we started hosting the TSC this is our 3rd year hosting it, and we've hosted it both spring and fall since 2015. And one of the main reasons why I decided to host that event, not so much I am a competitive person, but I didn't host it mostly for the competition. At my school here in Corpus Christi, we work mostly with women that are usually in their 30s, mid-30s and older. They have kids. And I think, one thing that is very challenging for ladies is thinking that, things like barbell deadlifting or, kettlebells will make them bulky, or they're not supposed to be strong, or they should just be doing cardio on a machine, or several dance-type cardio activities. And that's not true. That they can definitely be really strong individuals. And another thing that ladies will tend to beat themselves in the head with, and guys, we do this too, is constantly staring at the scale, right? For guys, it's probably more along the lines of trying to put on muscle, right? We're trying to gain weight or trying to put on muscle size, and if we're not gaining weight or whatever, we're not gaining muscle, that we're not improving. And then ladies, if they're not losing a pound, or if they've gained a pound, or if their weight stayed the same, they start to beat themselves in the head. And that can lead to people not continuing the training program, right? So they use a scale as an external base proof that they're, of their progression. So I wanted to host the TSC to give them a different focus. So now, for those that will be participating and competing in the TSC, you now have to focus on your training. You can't be missing training sessions. You can't be skipping out on training sessions, essentially, right? And you have to really focus on getting stronger. And here's the crazy part, is one of the events is the pull-up. So the pull-up, in order to do more pull-ups, you have to get stronger, but also if you get lighter by losing weight, you'll do more pull-ups, right? So it's been a really great success for us here in Corpus since I started introducing the TSC, and majority of our competitors are ladies, and man, they are just absolutely crushing it. We have several women that were intimidated by a barbell, or they were intimidated by hanging on a bar. They thought they'd never be able to do a pull-up, and we've taken so many women from barely being able to hang on a bar to doing flexed arm hangs, and now doing their first pull-up. I'm talking strict tactical Marine Corps style pull-ups to the neck or to the chest. And these ladies are killing it, starting with their first pull-up, and then they get to 3, and then to 5, and then to 6. And this is all possible. So, one of the things, since we're talking about the TSC, I competed the TSC. I compete every time because I think it's important, for me to do it, to lead from the front and to show my students that I'm walking the walk and talking. As I'm talking the talk, I'm walking the walk, right? And that way they can see me going through the process of training and preparation. So I had probably one of my best performances ever. I didn't perform as well as I would like in the snatch. I still have yet to beat my personal best in the snatch with the 32 kilo bell, but overall I had a really great performance. I had the biggest deadlift I've ever had ever, and I still did more pull-ups than I did from the previous TSC. So overall, a really great performance. I'm happy with it. I'm not satisfied. I'm happy with it, and I'm looking forward to improving on the next one. But man, guys, after the TSC, Saturday, Sunday, and even yesterday, I was just absolutely miserable. I was walking like an old man. I was just so crazy sore. My extensors, my glutes, all the way down to the back of my legs. I could barely stand up straight. I could barely stand up straight. I was just so sore. And just kind of leads me to, I know a lot of people, and I see this a lot on social media, and I see this a lot in just in gym settings, when I used to go to a traditional gym, is that a lot of people chase the soreness. And a lot of people will, they start to think, well, how come I'm not getting sore anymore? How come I'm not getting sore anymore? I must not be getting a good workout, right? Or the opposite. I'm still getting sore. Why am I still getting sore? Am I not getting stronger? So sometimes we can start to compare soreness with progression or regression. And soreness, without going into all the sciencey blah, basically soreness, guys, soreness just means you did something different. That's it. It's like if you haven't exercised in like 3 months, and then you go and you work out or you run or you go do something active, guess what? You're going to be sore. Why? Because you did something different. If you're currently in a training program and you do something different, like a competition, you're going to be crazy sore, right? I train all the time. I train 3, sometimes 4 days a week. And I train heavy, and I train very often, and I was crazy sore from this weekend. Does that mean that I regressed? Does that mean that I got weaker? No, because I had my best deadlift ever. I had my best overall performance ever. It just means that I did something different. And so for me, it was a competition. So that I pushed myself to the absolute limit that weekend, and that's what created the soreness. So just want to encourage you guys, and don't confuse soreness for progression or regression. It simply means you did something different. If you've been in a training routine and then the next day you're sore, your coach probably changed something. Or if you're going to the gym by yourself, you probably did something different. So let's say, here's an example. Let's say snatches, okay? Kettlebell snatches, which is one of the events of the TSC. Let's say you train regularly throughout the week, 2 to 3 times a week, and you're doing snatches, but you're doing like top of the minute protocol. You're doing like 5 snatches per side with the medium-sized kettlebell. You're pushing 5 snatches per side, and you're resting to the top of the minute. So 5 snatches takes like 7.5 seconds. So you're going to have about 50 plus seconds of rest. So simply by changing one of the variables in your training program, let's say you still do 5 snatches per side, but instead of resting for 50 seconds, you're only going to rest 30 seconds. What's going to happen is now you're going to be doing more snatches in that same time frame. So we're increasing the density of your program. So you're going to be doing more work in the same time, but you change the variable of your rest periods. Guess what's going to happen? You're going to be crazy sore the next day. Your hamstrings, your glutes, probably even your extensors are going to be sore because even your shoulders may even be a little sore because you changed a variable. Okay, you've been snatching the whole time, but you changed a variable. And sometimes for some people that can be discouraging, like, man, why am I getting sore? I'm staying active. And like I mentioned, and then the opposite, right? People chase the soreness. If they feel like if I'm not crazy sore, if I can't walk the next day, then I'm not progressing. I didn't get a good workout. And actually, guys, that's something I really wanted to cover, as far as competition and going all out all the time. So seeking that soreness constantly seeking that soreness can actually be detrimental to your training. How so? Well, take me for an example. I was crazy sore since Saturday and Sunday. I couldn't even train yesterday. Like literally, I could not train. I just kind of did like some mobility stuff. I did some arm bars. I did, just very little activity. So I couldn't even train. So if we're constantly seeking soreness, that's going to prevent us from moving properly because we're kind of like nursing. Essentially, it's like you're nursing an injury. So the more you continue to seek soreness, the more that you continue to go all out, right? Go all out in your training. I see this mentality a lot in the BJJ community, and I see this mentality a lot even with people just weightlifting, is that it's like they're maxing every week. They're trying to push themselves to the limit. I gotta push myself to the limit all the time. I gotta push myself to the limit to get ready. Well, I mean, yes, you need to hit those peaks from time to time, but training like that every single time, you're literally just gonna burn yourself out and you're gonna leave yourself open to injury. And then guess what happens? Guess what happens? I've seen this all the time. Again, in my profession, in my background of BJJ, is I see guys just push themselves crazy to the limit all the time, right? They just completely smoke themselves. They're sprinting and they're doing this and they're going in weightlifting and they're going all out in the gym and they're trying to max in the gym and then they're doing multiple rounds and they're just not giving themselves enough rest because they feel like I gotta go all out all the time. That way, if I make my training harder than the fight, then the fight will be easier. Well, in theory, yeah, I mean, yes, okay, you definitely want to push yourself in training, but here's what's going to happen. You're going to smoke your nervous system so bad that when you get into the actual fight and the actual competition, you're going to be smoked. By the second or third round, you're going to be gassed. And then guess what you're going to think? I need more conditioning. I need to go and I need to push even harder because as hard as I pushed, I still got tired of my fight. I need to push harder. No, what you need to do is you need to back off and you need to give your body more rest, okay? So, here's the crazy thing, guys, is we don't do this in any other area of our life but our health. Is we push everything to extreme. Let's say we're in college and we're not trying to take, maybe college is a bad example because you are taking lots of tests. But let's say, like professional sports, the NFL. Are they playing football games every single day? Are they playing max all out, full pads, full contact? Are they doing that every day? No, they play a game once a week. They play a game once a week, and then the 6 days leading up, they're practicing their skills, they're watching video, they're studying, they're working on their footwork, they're working on, their hand-eye coordination, they're working on all these other things and then they're getting their strength training in, but they're not going all out, guns blazing, playing football every day because they would literally break, right? Football, hockey, all these contact sports, they don't play them every single day. And there's a reason for that. It's because your body can't take that, right? So same thing in the gym. Trying to max every single day and trying to go ham and trying to just go all out, you're not going to progress that way, because for one, you'll probably be crazy sore every single day. You're not going to be moving very well. You won't be able to train. You'll have to take a day off, and then eventually over time it's something that you can't keep up, and it'll discourage you because you're like, man, I'm not even progressing. I'm still getting sore, right? So that's just something that I see all the time. So like 1 rep max stuff, like always trying to max in the gym and always trying to improve, get a PR every time. Those are good. There's nothing wrong with testing yourself, but minimize that. Once, maybe twice out of the year, right? Going for 1 rep maxes and things like that, guys, that's a sport-specific skill, like powerlifting or participating in the TSC or whatever, or Olympic weightlifting. Those are sport-specific skills, right? But how many of us there's very few people that actually want to attain that. They want to get stronger and they want to learn how to deadlift and they want to know how to do snatches, but they're not trying to do a snatch test with a 32 or 24, or for the ladies a 16 or a 20. They're not doing a snatch test every single day. Why? Because you'd be so crazy sore you won't be able to move the next day. So in your training, train smart. Find a coach that's really good at programming and periodization, and really the training should be enjoyable, guys. It's going to be tough and it's not always going to be fun, but you should enjoy training. And if you are sore the next day, doesn't mean that you got weaker, doesn't mean that you got stronger or that you had a great workout. It just means something changed. One of the variables changed. Maybe you did more reps in the set. Maybe your rest periods were shorter. Maybe you did a heavier weight. Like, just changing any little variable in a training plan will create soreness. So that's a lot of confusion that's out there right now in the fitness world, that I strive to always try to clear up and to clarify. So like, you're always going to hear me preach, strength is a priority, right? If you're healthy, if flexibility, if movement, if you're not in pain, your priority should be getting stronger, okay? And then in training appropriately, depending on, set a goal. Okay, I want to be able to do a snatch test. Well, that doesn't mean you're going to do a snatch test every day until you get it, right? You have to break that down into its pieces, into little microcycles, and build up the volume. To get stronger, you need to build volume, okay? More reps, total reps, and then, set the goal. Maybe once, or one time that year, you're going to do a snatch test if you've never done one. But you're not going to be doing snatch tests every year to be able to attain a snatch test. I hope this makes sense. Now I'm kind of rambling, just kind of repeating myself. But same thing with building a deadlift. You're not trying to max in your deadlift every day to build your deadlift. Okay, you have to train at. I think I wrote a blog about this last week. You have to train to build. Maximum strength is built in 75 to 80% of intensity. Another way to look at that is maximum strength is built in that 7 to 8 out of 10 effort, out of 10 difficulty to build a deadlift or to build a bench press or to build a squat or even snatches or whatever it is. You always want to train sub-maximally. And in time, when it's time to test yourself, that's when you gun it. And that's when you can go all out 100%, because now you're going to take everything that you've been practicing and training and now you're going to put it into work, right? The BJJ World Championships is once a year. It's not every single day. So you're going to train appropriately through your strength training. So BJJ guys need to be training for strength, not training for conditioning. Okay, I'm actually working on a small book that's going to be covering a lot of this for the BJJ community, because this is something I see in my area of expertise. The guys are always more conditioning, and it no longer becomes strength and conditioning. It becomes conditioning and more conditioning. Okay, so the sport itself, their sport itself, is a conditioning sport. They don't need more conditioning. If you want more conditioning and you're a BJJ guy or you're a cyclist or you're a runner, just do more of that. So if you're a cyclist, you don't need to go and get on the treadmill and run more. You don't need to go and do more cardio, because guess what? When you get on the bike, you're going to be getting a lot of cardio. Just push your miles, work inclines, right? So that's what you'll focus on if you're a cycler or a runner, right? Do more hills. Okay, BJJ guys, do more rounds. Keep your rest period short between rounds. Quit taking breaks and resting 5-6 rounds and then doing a round. And then, let me go get this guy because he's new and I'm going to roll with him and take a round off. No, like, push yourself. That's what's going to get the conditioning. Then outside, when it's time to do, when you're not doing BJJ and you want to focus on weight training, your priority is strength. Forget the conditioning. You need to focus on getting stronger. Okay? BJJ guys, wrestlers, especially BJJ. BJJ is all about, well, it's not about strength, it's about technique. Well, yes, technique is always going to be superior. But guess what? 2 BJJ black belts, both equally skilled, the stronger athlete will always win. It's undisputed. You can't argue it. It's a fact. There's a reason why the Mendes brothers would work me any day of the week. But there's a reason why the Mendes brothers don't do the absolute division and don't face guys like Buchecha and some of the big heavyweight guys. Because they're bigger and they're stronger and they're equally skilled. The bigger, stronger guys, equally skilled, will always win. That's why there's weight classes, right? Look at boxing. That's why there's weight classes. You got Mike Tyson going against a Pernell Whitaker back in the day. Who do you think's going to win? 2 guys equally skilled. Mike Tyson is like a freak, right? And he'll just knock him through the rings. Okay? Technique is superior. But if you have 2 guys equally skilled and one guy's bigger and stronger, it's gonna, the bigger, stronger guy's always gonna win. Okay? So BJJ, I see guys stress all the time. Oh, I need to cut 5 pounds. Dude, it's jiu-jitsu. You should be able to handle somebody that's 5 pounds or 10 pounds heavier in your jiu-jitsu. Now, if a guy's 70 or 80 pounds heavier than you, now that's going to be a difference. But just remember, the BJJ world, strength is a priority aside from training jiu-jitsu. Okay? So, the equally skilled, 2 athletes equally skilled, the bigger, stronger guy will always win. Okay? So, if you're a conditioning athlete, you don't need to do more conditioning. If you're a runner, if you're a cyclist, if you're a BJJ, if you're a wrestler, if you're anything that has to do with conditioning, you need to focus more on strength training outside of what you currently do. And it shouldn't take up a lot of your time. If you're a strength athlete, like let's say you're a power lifter or you're a weightlifter or you're a strongman, you do strongman competitions, you don't need to add more strength training because you're already doing a lot of strength training. What you need to do is you need to work on your mobility, your flexibility. You need to work on your conditioning. Okay, so you need to work on the other side because you're going to get all that by lifting logs, carrying this, doing max, heavy deadlifts. You're going to be doing that already. You don't need to add more assistance exercises to your strength training. You're already going to get that. DeMarcus, how you doing, bud? You don't need to do that. You need to focus on your mobility, your flexibility. You need to work on your conditioning if you're a strength or a power athlete. Okay, and this is just a lot of confusion and a lot of stuff that I see going on in the whole fitness world that kind of drives me nuts. And by no means am I perfect, guys. This is all stuff that I've learned through my own error and through my own faults. This is stuff that I'm learning, and I'm still learning. I'm learning new stuff every single time I go through a bench press. Not a bench press. Every single time I go through a deadlift cycle. Everything I go through a snatch cycle preparing for the TSC. I'm learning new things, new lessons every time, and I keep a journal. I keep a very detailed journal of each and every training session. I keep a very detailed journal of each and every training session, and I write down what my lessons were. I write down what did I learn from that training event, from that training session. How did the lift feel? How was my setup? Today wasn't feeling really good. My setup was off. My foot was off. I did too much of this. Don't train jiu-jitsu. Don't train jiu-jitsu prior to deadlifts. Just things like that, guys. And I'm making all these little notes. That way when I go into my next training session, I know. So now, with my background in jiu-jitsu and then preparing for the TSC, when I'm preparing for the TSC, I'm not doing a whole lot of jiu-jitsu. I'm still training jiu-jitsu, but I'm keeping my rounds lighter. I'm still rolling. I don't take breaks off in between rounds, but I'm focusing more on just drilling, technique, just kind of getting lots of reps in. I'm not rolling really hard because that's going to smoke my nervous system. And then when I go into the gym and I'm trying to work on my deadlift and I'm working on my snatches, I don't have the juice for that. And now I could switch my mentality like, oh, just go hard, bro. Just go all out. Well, guess what? I'm going to be smoked and I'm not going to perform well at the TSC. And then vice versa. If I switch that, let's say I haven't competed in like two plus years in jiu-jitsu scene. Let's say I want to get back into competing jiu-jitsu. Guess what's going to have to take a sidestep? Lifting. Okay, no more snatching, no more swing, no more conditioning kettlebell exercises. I'm still going to focus on my deadlift and my strength training, strict pull-ups, deadlift, pistols, like very low volume, but focusing on strength. But that's going to take a side seat because I need to focus more on rolling and more on drilling. Okay, so it all depends on our goals, guys. What do we want? And we have to know if we're going to be doing a couple of things. We got to know how to structure that stuff out. So, if you guys are enjoying this, these live episodes, please like and share. Share with a friend that you know may be dealing with some of this stuff, that may be a competitive athlete and they're struggling with some of this stuff. Or maybe they're not a competitive athlete. Maybe they're a busy mom with kids that are afraid of doing pull-ups. Like, share. I appreciate if you'd share this, guys. And if you like the videos, click on the bottom right to be notified when I go live. So I can keep rambling. I can keep going on and on. But I'm going to leave you guys with that thought. Just don't chase the soreness. Focus on getting stronger. Focus on moving better. If you're a competitive athlete, BJJ, powerlifter, whatever it is, focus on your sport and getting better at your sport, and then any accessory stuff should be the opposite of that. Strength athletes, focus on flexibility conditioning. Conditioning athletes, cyclists, runners, BJJ, wrestlers, MMA guys, you're going to get your conditioning from that. Focus on getting purely strong only. I promise you guys, you're going to see yourself excel when you do this. So that's all I got for you guys. Have a great Tuesday, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.